Hello everyone and welcome back to Speed Build Sunday. Today we are working on the second apartment in this apartment complex. In this apartment, I very much bid into the moodier vibe. I changed up the color of the cabinets to the same style, but they're different cabinets. And I even changed them from these ones. Instead of using the darker countertop, I ended up changing the whole cabinet color. But that hasn't happened yet, so you'll see in a moment when I decide to go with that movie vibe. But this apartment is the 3-bedroom apartment in the complex. So this has a full master bedroom with a walk-in closet and master bathroom. Then it also has 2 additional bedrooms and it has a balcony. So this is like the nicest unit in the apartment complex. So the whole layout threw me off, especially this living room. I struggled with how to set it up at first because of this wall. I was like, if I put those bookcases there, it makes it really hard to center anything for that fireplace. I think it's because one side of the fireplace has 2, like, tiles, and one has 1, and so it's not centered, and it makes it a challenge to try to get it to work. So here I'm just like thinking how I want to go about it, and then I decide that I want to change the cabinets to be a moodier color, so I end up changing them to all be black, and I think at first I changed them to the wrong colors of black at first. Or like I only changed some of them. I don't know. I remember having to like come back and be like, did I change all of those? Or maybe I thought of it when I was doing it. It's been a minute since I recorded this thing. So I debated changing the layout of the apartment to have the living room be more closed off to make it a little easier to set up. I didn't like it, so I ended up making this wall a little longer, and I don't regret it one bit because I can center the TV better. It feels a little better of a layout. So that's what I work at here. And then I wanted some kind of bookcase of some sort underneath the TV. I ended up going with these because they come with different colored books, as well as like you know, you know, but like you can get the same colored case with different books, and I liked that because then it doesn't just look like you placed the same thing over and over again. So I think it looked really nice. Here I struggled with what table to put at the door. It was a tough decision. I wanted that one, but then I was like, I don't know if I like that one. So I'm gonna come back to it, and I will end up changing it, I believe. But I ended up making this house for a single mom who has 2 kids. She has a child who is a boy, like a child son, and then an infant daughter. Um, I didn't think too hard about the dad, but thinking about it, I think the idea is that he passed away. We don't know how. Maybe it was a freak accident in his job that he had. Like he was like an astronaut. He got nope. That's no. We're not gonna say that. We're not gonna say that. No. I don't know what he could. Maybe he was like a scientist. It was scientist. He was just like a normal scientist, and there was an explosion at the lab he worked at or something. Or he died of something goofy. He was eaten by killer rabbits. Who knows? I also I didn't like any of the mirrors that I could find, so I tried to find a painting to put above this. And I do think I stick with at least a painting or multiple paintings. But that was where I struggled, was like the paintings that I liked were wider than the table, and I didn't like that. I wanted them to be centered on the table and not the table centered on the picture. But this apartment, I decided to make it a little more homey and give it more of a story than the other apartment I did. I did that with a little more, like, it's a staging apartment. This one, I wanted to feel a little bit more lifted. Like, people could still come in and, like, look through it. It's going to look really pristine and clean. But it's not just used to show people what the apartment could be furnished like. So this is the laundry room. I like this layout of the laundry room so much better than like a full square one. I think it just looks nicer, even though it's smaller. See, there's that table, and I like it so much better. It's a longer little sidebar table thing like that. And then I wanted to put some kind of shelf in the laundry room, so there's some kind of storage to put like your laundry soap on or your little knickknacks, maybe your dryer sheets up there, who knows. So here is a half bath, or no, just a full bath. I didn't see the shower. So that's a full bath right there. That'd be the kids' bathroom. Ideally, I would have put a bathtub in there, but there's just not room in that bathroom. That layout is perfect to have a shower in that nook. So sadly, that's not how it would be. not how I would ideally have it. So I made sure I went to this bathroom and put a bathtub in some way, shape, or form in this bathroom. But that window is slightly wider than a tile, so it made it a little difficult. And then I saw the hot tub. Can you tell that I feel like that I just struggle with staying on one topic for too long? Like I seen the hot tub, I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize we had an in-ground hot tub. I want to put that in the pool area because I feel like when you live in not a hotel, when wherever you go has a hot tub, it's in the ground. It's not a above ground hot tub. So that's what I did there. It's not like a standard hot tub you get at your house. So wanted to do that. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do a double vanity or a single vanity. I ended up going with the single one. I felt like with where the bathtub was, it didn't fit right. And I know in theory you can't open the cabinet doors that are in front of the bathtub faucet because the bathtub's in the way, but the Sims don't really open the cabinet doors that often anyway. But I think it's like the toddlers do, and they're just putting cabinets for them to play in if they really want to. So I don't really care. Then in this room, I really love the idea of trying to utilize a bunk bed for the room. And you'll see here, if anything remotely makes me feel like it's gonna crash my game or crash my computer, I save, which is scary because my game crashed when I was trying to do this voiceover the first time. My whole computer crashed, so that was scary. I do start tweaking like where the doors and stuff are because I think it makes it look better versus just having it centered. My kid and kind of fit it to make the furniture fit nicer. So I made sure that the kid had a bookcase, had like a little chair to sit in, he has his desk, and then I made sure he has a couple toys as well. So I think that he's into space and whatnot. So he maybe kind of got a little bit of a joy for science from his dad before he passed. And he decided instead of being like a work in a lab, mixing chemicals kind of scientist or messing with plants and stuff, he wanted to be an astronaut. So that's what he kind of leans into is wanting to do more spacey things and yeah, outer space. So that's kind of the vibe I got with him, what I decided to do. So I realized doing this, there is not really much kids decor. There's like toddler decor, and then there's like teenager decor, but I feel like there's not really like children's decor. Like those, like they kind of are. I wanted something like, and they're not very cohesive. You can get all dinosaur stuff, but that's really the only cohesive stuff that they have, or like princessy. Like dinosaurs and princesses. That's really all they have. And even then, it's not like princesses. It's just like princess-y, if that makes sense. So I don't know. But now we're working on the infant's room. I try to make sure that she's got some toys and whatnot, and especially for like her to grow with. And then I picked out a little high chair to put at the table. I couldn't find just like a plain black one at first. I was felt like I was losing my mind. But I made her room very light and pink. I don't know if I end up going back and painting the walls, but I'm not super upset if I don't, because typically you don't paint in apartments, I feel like. I feel like a lot of apartments don't like to let you paint. But I wanted something to go above her bed or some kind of storage. The shelf was tripping me up. So if you look at it from like certain angles, it looks like the shelf, or oh my gosh. Blah, 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 blah. It looked like the shelf was see-through, so I decided not to go with that one. But I wanted shelves and stuff to put like baby items around the uh bedroom. And then I wanted a light for above the crib, like a standing light to go in that corner. And I struggled to find one that like felt childy that wasn't too childy. I feel like a lot of the children's stuff has not been updated since the base game came out. Like there's some stuff that has been updated. They've come out with new packs for kids, but like if you don't have them, then you don't really get anywhere. And I don't have like a ton of packs. Like I have a good bit, but I don't have all of them. I feel like what that I have in the selection we have, it's rough. Like I'm not a big fan of it. But here I'm working on the walk-in closet. It's nothing too fancy. I just couldn't find the stuff I wanted, and I wanted to try to make it different than the last walk-in closet, but it just was not gonna work because there really isn't much stuff for walk-in closets either. I should have used the actual closet that fits in that spot, and I thought about it. I should have just done that. But I put a little mirror back there, made it like so she could get ready and look at herself in the mirror after she gets ready. And then I wanted to make her room a little more elegant and more of like a hideaway spot where she can just run away and hide when her kids go to bed and just feel at peace. So that's what this is. And I went with a set that I don't typically use. I tried to use a matching set. And I like that dresser. I really do. I think it would look better as like a sideboard thing in like a dining room. I feel like that's usually where I use it. So I wanted to make sure I used it here. And then I think I realized that there was no matching desk. If I recall, that might have been an issue prior to this in the last apartment, that there was just no matching desk for the set that I was using. And I don't feel like those nightstands actually match the dresser or the bed that much, but they are, I believe, the right ones. So I'm not a fan of them. But that's how it's gonna be. I tried to make sure that I remember those small details like window coverings, rugs, those kinds of things. But now we're getting to the balcony. I wanted her to have a hobby. At first, though, I saw that little library. I was like, that would be so cute because she has kids. That'd be perfect for, like, I said, the apartment complex because there's going to be more kids. We have a playground. So her hobby is that she makes flower bouquets, and then there's a little place for her kids to sit out there with her. I struggled to find a couch, but that's pretty much it. I ended up going with like a little stool. I wanted it to be so she could work on her hobby and watch like her son play at the playground while she's working on it, and then she could have the infant out there with her, like sitting there playing. But I hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments down below. And if you want to see more Minecraft and Sims content, go ahead and subscribe because I make tons of it. And I will talk to you guys all later. Bye.
I ain't playing and accepting no defeat.